Oh, there we go. Right, I think it's time to flip the camera and show you my face. So, hi everybody. Let's get you in the mount up here, and then you'll stop wobbling around quite so much. And there we go. Yeah, welcome to another live stream video. Now we're all here. Is the odometer working on the GSA? It is. I now have a working odometer, working speedometer. It's all good. I've only been for sort of one drive since fixing it, but there you go. Wind noise. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I'll close the door. I haven't got an external mic in, so we're going to get wind noise, but hopefully that'll be all right. Squeaky door, squeaky seats. Ah, morning, Matt. Furious driving. Sorry I didn't catch your live chat last night. I hope it didn't get too lively. Discussing the modern Mini. You can't really call it a new Mini when it's 19 years old. It's quite scary that the new Mini has been around that long. Ireland today. Oh, yeah. Would you consider taking Tuk on a European road trip? Yes. Well, the one thing I can't really face is driving Tuk to a ferry port, so it might be I need to find some way of getting her there. But certainly love to take her around the Netherlands, possibly France. Have you driven a Reliance Scimitar? I used to own a Reliance Scimitar. I had an SE5A with a very sporty exhaust on it. Very nice. Just woke up. Well, you know, it's the joy of lockdown, especially a lockdown weekend. You can get up when you feel like. I could have stayed in bed, but I had to get up and do a live stream. I didn't plan that very well, did I? Live streaming without seatbelts. Yeah, but there are seatbelts now in the rear of the GSA. There will be a video coming on that. Congrats on 60,000 subs. Yeah, thank you very much. I'm not even going to try and pronounce that. Percolanatori? Maybe. Ever owned a motorbike? No, not interested. Could you get a trailer? Yeah, I could get a trailer. I'm just not sure I've got a car that's capable of towing a trailer with an Invacar on it. And thoughts on the Rover 225s? Yeah, I quite like them, especially the CVTs. People loving the GSA. Well, I love the GSA too. It's been the perfect car. Although I did notice there was a puddle under it this morning, and that's going to be one of two fluids, isn't it? That's either engine oil or LHM. I'm going to have to investigate that a bit later on. Whoa, skidding past. Do you promise that 50% of revenue from the sale of a sticker would go towards a new mic? I'm always buying new mics all the time. They have a fairly hard life. They're chucked in bags and in pockets and all sorts. So yeah, they have a very tough life. Can we expect another shopping vlog next time we go to Tesco's? No, I've been to Tesco's a couple of times, and I haven't done a vlog this week, I'm afraid. Have I been down the unit? I've been down the unit once this week. A vlog coming on that probably on Monday. It got to the stage I couldn't fit the seatbelts because I hadn't got the right tools. So I was like, I'm going to have to go and get tools. So I did that. Opinion on Vauxhall Insignias. Too modern for me. And I could never forgive them for calling them Holden Commodores. Much love for the GSA. There we go. It's good. I'm glad people like this car because I mean the beauty of my channel is I don't buy cars. Sorry to be rude. I don't buy cars to satisfy you. I buy cars to satisfy me. And when you love the cars I buy, that's just the greatest feeling in the world. And yeah, good thing. Wow, 380,000 kilometers on a 1974 GS. See, they do the mileage. It's just they rust away. More desires for collaborations with Steph from iDriver Classic. Yeah, hopefully we can do something. I would love to do something actually together when we can get around this ban on movement. It'd be really good. Have I got to buy meat after this? Yes, I need to keep an eye on the time, which is going to be problematic. I can't see the time. I should look at the digital clock. It is 11:05. There we go. So we're all right. Oh, thank you, East Coast Steam. How many miles has your GSA done? Well, it's got 76,000 on the clock, but I think the clock's been changed. So I've absolutely no idea. It's had a complete strip down and, you know, proper bare metal shell respray and everything. So I don't think the mileage really matters. I mean, I've got no way of telling. It doesn't bother me. Hubnut Furious driving and iDriver Classic Social. Well, a joint one. I do have some plans there, but I cannot discuss because I don't know if it's going to work. But yeah, I'll get back to you on that. Have you been practicing on your ukulele? Yes, I have. It looks like it's had a good paint job. It has, yeah. It's lovely depth to the black paint. It's great. Would you say you have a dry sense of humour? I have a very stupid sense of humour. And some girls like that, some girls don't. Steph did a video on the same Allegro. She did because it belongs to Josh, who's now her boyfriend. And yeah, I've known Josh for quite a few years. So I've driven Josh's Allegro and his Morris Minor Traveller. And I have a deep, deep desire to get my hands on his Humber Super Snipe because they are marvellous vehicles. Struggle to keep up with all these questions. Try Mark 1 Fiesta, says Andrew Garvey. I'd love to. My first car was a Mark 2 Fiesta. They're great cars. Oh, Big Jono's jumped in with another donation. Thank you, Big Jono. That always helps. Is the mileage not recorded on the MOT history? Yeah, it will be. Maybe I should actually have a look at that at some point. I've never done it. Any chance of a trip to the lockup? Yes, there will be a future video. I've done one visit to the lockup. To get tools. Did you fix the battery light? No, but she's still charging, so that's all good. Oh, Richard Brothers Buses say hello. Yeah, hello, Richard Brothers Buses. Strange time for bus drivers, because I think a lot of them are driving empty buses around at the moment, but I'm sure the few people who are still travelling by bus appreciate it nonetheless. Any plans to learn welding? Yeah, there's ideas floating around on that. Everything's on hold at the moment. Mark Harris's modern Mini celebrating 200,000. Is that miles or kilometers? But impressive nonetheless. Is it raining? No, I can stick my hand outside. It is beautiful and dry. Yeah, I am back in the UK. My videos are on a considerable backlog. So yesterday's video was the 60,000 subscribers. So a big thank you to everyone who's subscribed to the channel. That's a lot of people. And yeah, it was the duck in New Zealand was yesterday's video. Thank you, Michael Partridge, for your little donation there. There is a super chat. There's a dollar sign beneath. If you'd like to click it, you're under no obligation to do so. Simone asks if I have a favourite ADO 16. I do. It's the Orphy Victoria. I think that's a lovely car, and there's one in the UK, and I would like to get my hands on it. So if you own that Orphy Victoria, do get in touch with me. That's a Spanish-built development of the ADO 16 with a boot and styling by Michelotti. So it looks a bit like a baby Triumph. It's a very strange looking thing. I absolutely love them. Your own yearly event? Well, we have Hubnut socials. I would love to do a big proper Hubnut meet, but that's going to be some way off because I can't afford to do it. Yeah, no wiper on the duck. I'm sorry about that. I was too distracted by driving a truck on a lake. Bova Futura bus video, that would be lovely to do. Yeah, I would really like to drive a Bova Futura. I mean, when they came out in the early 80s, they were just astonishing. The design of them was absolutely beautiful. Duck tours in London. I think those duck tours may have ended in London. They certainly ended in Liverpool after one sank the day after the Queen rode on it. And I think they're still going in Dublin. Last time I went to Dublin, there were ducks driving around, and for some reason they make everyone wear horned helmets. No idea about that. Neon video, I can't promise it'll come out next week. I've got so many videos to try and get out. Oh, thank you, Jay. That's very good of you. Mazda MX-5 is a good modern classic. That's undoubtedly true. Get a Mark 1 before they all vanish. Oh, what was that? I've seen a Citroen Palace with that quirky instrumentation. Yeah. The GSAs all had this quirky dashboard. The GS for the British market had conventional dials, which is why I could not own one. Opinion on Rover SD1? I've got a video on the Rover SD1 comparing it with a Rover 800, so you can go and check that out, and you'll get my opinion. Oh, hello, Paulie. Sneaky checking in while he's working. Tut. Would you own a Saab? I've owned Saabs, 900 and 9000. I'd love a 96 two-stroke. Do you like the styling of the Austin Apache? Not as much as the Orphy Victoria. The Austin Apache is the South African salooned version of the ADO 16, but I don't like the front end treatment quite so much. The rear end treatment, very similar to the Orphy Victoria. Nick Wills, thoughts on Retro Cars magazine ending? Very sad news indeed. And I'm slightly annoyed, but I found out via a live chat, was it last week, I think it must have been, but yeah, very sad. It's a very tough time for the publishers at the moment because sales are down because people can't get hold of the magazines. Ad revenue generally across the board, I'm finding my ad revenue is dropping on here, so it's getting much more difficult. And yeah, it's a tricky time for publishers. I understand why Retro Cars has kind of been merged into Classic Car Mart for now, but yeah, still very sad about it. To sell parts I haven't got yet. I did have a quick look when I visited the unit this week to try and work out exactly what metalwork I need. Yeah, that's probably the plan, is to cut down the panels that exist in Melbourne to size so we can get them in and post them over for a bit less cost. Have I done a video on a Hillman Hunter? No, and I must do because my dad used to own one. Car YouTubers killed the magazines. I don't think that's really true, but it is true that more and more people are moving to YouTube and other video options and away from magazines. I think that's just generally a trend that's been going on for a very long time, and it's slightly upsetting. But the problem for the publishers is it's very difficult to make YouTube work for a company. You have to throw a lot of money at it, and it's very difficult to get your returns. Whereas I, as a single person, don't have to throw so much money at this, and the meager income is enough to keep me going. But it's very difficult to make it work on a commercial basis. So video killed the radio star. Well, that's what they say. Modern Classics a great mag. Yeah, it's edited by my friend John Joe Vollens, who I actually interviewed and employed when we worked on Classic Car Weekly together, working for a different publisher. So yeah, I've known JJ a long time. I think he's doing a great job with it. The internet caused the demise of magazines. Well, maybe, but I mean, everyone was saying that magazines were dead years ago, and that they live on. I think there's definitely a market for perhaps more niche magazines that are sold on a purely subscription or online basis. Trying to get magazines into stores costs a lot of money. You know, to put a magazine in, say, 100 Tesco stores, as an example, other supermarkets are available, you're looking at tens of thousands of pounds that you, the publisher, have to pay just to get your magazine displayed. And that doesn't mean you're going to sell them. And if you think how many magazine retailers there are around the country, you've got to print enough magazines to go in all those, and you won't sell all those magazines, so some of your magazines are going to get pulped. And yeah, I think that's ultimately what drove me towards YouTube, is you know, blood, sweat and tears on a magazine feature, and it's relevant for a week, a month, and then it's pulped and in the bin, and we move on. Whereas all the videos I make are still there and people can check them out, and I quite like that. Would I daily a Mark III Cavalier? Yes, if I could stop it rotting. Rear arches and all that, bit of a problem. Magazine prices, yeah, but magazine prices go up because sales go down. So there's always a battle of trying to remain profitable. You can't just slash your prices because, like I say, it costs you money to sell those magazines. So yeah, it's problematic. Paying for shelf space is a scam, yeah, but what are you going to do? What circulation do the magazines have? Well, I only really know Classic Car Weekly, but when I was on that title, we were selling anywhere between 20 and 30,000 copies a week. But you would probably print twice as many as that. So there you go. Cars killed the horse and cart. Yeah, but horse and cart lives on. It may not be daily transport anymore, but people still like horses and carts. So I think, you know, magazines could carry on. You could say that modern cars have replaced classic cars, yet here I am sitting in my classic car, and classic cars live on. So yeah, it's different things. Finlay asks, how can I become a hub nutter? You join the channel. If you look for a join option, and below this video somewhere, you can join the channel on YouTube. I don't believe that's possible for people on Apple products, but that serves you right for being on Apple products. I mean, honestly, what are you thinking? Citroen SM Maserati video, that would be lovely to do. How's George? George is very well. I've seen pictures of a very happy cat sat in a box. Yeah, very, 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 yeah, Classic Car Weekly, is that an ad rag? Yeah, it is, but there's good editorial alongside it, and Classic Car Buyer is its relation, a different publisher, competitor. That's the one, not relation. I've worked for both Classic Car Buyer and Classic Car Weekly over the years. Don't currently do anything with either of them. Oh, another top up for the T Fund. Thank you very much, David. Simone is saving her money for a Mark III Cortina. That is a very noble aim. Oh, okay, you can join on a MacBook, but not on iPad or iPhone. There you go. Thank you for that, Wolfgang. Very useful information. Because I'm on Android and a PC, I don't always know what's going on. Someone asks, work with John Bentley at all? No, but I did meet him at the NEC a couple of years ago. Very nice chap. He's just as geeky and enthusiastic in real life as he appears in his programs. So yeah, I like John Bentley. I used to love the Gadget Show many years ago with Susie Perry and what was his name? Alex, was it? No, I'm getting confused with Alex Coy, who's an entirely different person who does Carfection. I used to love it in those days, but I've kind of gone off it a bit in more recent times, mostly because I don't watch telly anymore. Do you keep your classics or sell them on? I seem to be increasingly keeping my cars. Apple takes a payment within apps. Yeah, it does. But then YouTube takes a cut from whatever you donate to me. So yeah, it's the way of the world, isn't it? Beagleman asks a great question. If you wanted to get into classic car journalism, any suggestions? Well, one, it's getting ever more difficult to get in. But the main thing and the way I got in is I had a portfolio because I had my own blog. I was also writing for Keith Adams on AR Online, so I've got a few features on there if you go really digging back. And I was also doing a lot of writing. I had a monthly column in 2CVGB, the magazine of 2CV Club of Great Britain, and I did an awful lot of stuff for them. So when I started applying for jobs, I had a portfolio of work where I can say this is what I can do, and ultimately you're judged on that. So you don't have to go and do a journalism degree. It could be helpful. I've never done one. Perhaps that shows sometimes. It's tricky, but you just have to look out for those opportunities. But as the number of magazines dwindles, it gets ever harder. I got my break on Classic Car Weekly through Keith Adams again because he was working on that title at the time. So I'd submit the odd news story and had the odd news story published. Then on spec, Nick Larkin wrote a feature on saloons, and I wrote one on estates and sent it in, and they did actually publish it. So that was a major step. But it's very difficult trying to submit stuff and hope it'll get published. There's no guarantee at all it ever will. And obviously, as someone said my knowledge on classic and vintage cars is amazing. It's fairly widespread. I get stuff wrong all the time, but I do know a lot because I used to read reference books. So again, you've got to know your topic. A specialism is good, but especially with classic cars, you need a broad spectrum of knowledge. And you never know everything about every car. It's just impossible, but you just try and get right what you can. So give it a go. But mostly you've got to love writing. If you don't love sitting there putting words together, then that isn't the job for you. A lot of people think it's just having fun driving around in lovely old cars. And obviously there's an element of that, but most of your working days are spent in front of a computer, and you've got pages you have to fill, especially when you work on a weekly. That's a constant treadmill. And I loved those days, but it was very stressful. And while I'm glad I did it, I'm also kind of glad it's over because it's hugely hard work. But I guess quite useful for this sort of thing because, I get to prattle along making words up in my head that I say. Is that the squarest rear window in the world? It's pretty square. Would you do an interview with Scotty Kilmer? I don't really know Scotty Kilmer. There's channels I watch on YouTube and channels I don't, and Scotty's isn't one of the ones pressed the wrong button. I don't watch his channel. At the moment, I'm kind of slightly addicted to Cletus McFarland of all people, and I can't say if you look at Cletus McFarland that I ever expected to be a fan of the stuff he does, but he does it really well, and he makes it engaging, and yeah, I quite like that stuff. Some Retronaut recommended a Maxi. Good choice. Maxis are great cars. How many times were you special contributor on Practical Classics? I wasn't really a special contributor on Practical Classics. I had the odd feature published in PC. I didn't do that many with Practical Classics. Test drive of a 2CV Sahara, that'd be really difficult to do. They're fetching like 60,000-70,000 pounds. It's insane. Will you be following Twitter Steam Rally? Hashtag Twitter Steam Rally next Saturday. I wasn't aware that was a thing. I will keep an eye out for that. What name did you go by when you started writing? In my professional writing career, apart from a couple of news pieces, I've always been Ian Seabrook. For those who don't know, I actually used to be Ian Green, and very few features use that name. Do you write scripts or notes? It's all off the cuff. I make up everything. I don't script anything. I will spend a long time researching the night before, but I don't make any notes generally. I just wing it. And oh, it's Vincent's 50th birthday. Well, congratulations, Vincent. Well done on your half century. Is a Peugeot 404 test coming up? Asks the living room busker. Yes, I'm very pleased to say it is. It's one of the 30 odd videos in the backlog. The smoky diesel is awful. Oh, I love the smoky diesel. The noise, those Cummins, is it a Cummins engine? Mate, yeah, I absolutely love it. The smoke, maybe not quite so much. Trip to Aging Wheels. I would love to visit Aging Wheels. I think it would be an absolutely lovely thing to do. Yeah, I'm very fond of Rob. If you haven't seen my interview with Aging Wheels, do go and check it out. I've done a few videos. From an income point of view, who do you regard as your main competitors? I don't really get that from an income point of view. In terms of main competitors on YouTube, Furious Driving and iDriver Classic are kind of covering the same areas, but I think we each have our own niche within the vast world of classic cars. Laurie's Mechanical Marvels, the channel growth he's had is very impressive indeed, but again, he's covering stuff I don't cover in far more detail. So I don't really see any other contributors as competitors, really. I just love that we're all in it together, and yeah, it's great. Oh, Scottish car enthusiast daughter Abby is going to be free tomorrow. Well, happy birthday ahead of time, Abby. And oh, the Vim Fuego has donated $5 Australian. Thank you very much. Congrats for 60,000. Retro Restore, yeah, I need to watch more Retro Restore. I have hit the subscribe button, I just haven't caught up with much. I've watched a bit of Cold War Motors and noticed them commenting on the video the other day, so they obviously watch me as well. And Peter Anderson, who I met when I was in Melbourne, he has been to visit Cold War Motors. So again, there's a lot of love in the YouTube world across the globe. We all respect what each person does, and we don't see it as competition. I suppose in a small way I do. I think it makes me try to be better at what I do, because you think, oh well, there's other people. You know, it keeps you on your toes a bit, but yeah, it's not a bitter, twisted, angry world of competition. Definitely not, which is nice. Wales or New Zealand? Now there's a difficult one, because Wales is a truly beautiful place, and I'm realizing that more and more now I'm back in it. But New Zealand has more space. You can do more traveling around it, and at a greater pace. Driving around Wales is a frustrating business because it's all wiggly roads absolutely everywhere. What car, in your opinion, has the best keys? I'll tell you what, I think the GSA possibly has the worst. The ignition key is this horrible bendy thing, and the key's kind of down by your right knee. I don't like that one. That one is more like the key you'd find in a Citroen Diane. That's a nicer key. I can get on with that. That's the door key. And then you've got yet another key for the tailgate. That's just annoying. I would prefer to have one key for everything. So there you go. I don't know what car has the best keys, but it certainly isn't the Citroen GSA, I should say. Where are the questions gone, YouTube? Come on, bring them back. I've only got a couple of bars of phone signal here, so I'm hoping it's all working absolutely fine. Who stole Betty's number plate? It's a very good question. Can we find out? What's the plan for the Tercel? Yeah, I still need to properly assess it and try and work out. It's going to need stripping out and assessing. I have a horrible feeling the entire floor pan might be rotten, but we'll find out. Should my hub nut stickers be offside or near side? Well, it doesn't really matter. Just like you say, avoid the wiper sweep. We have had a few people fail to do that and lose their stickers as a result. Or go for internal stickers and then you haven't got a problem. But if I can just go for today's plug yet again, it is the I Love Tuck stickers. These are available at hubnut.org. We've also got mugs, the Betty mugs. We've been waiting and waiting for the Betty mugs to come in. I don't have one to show you. I only have a Foxanne mug, but we're going for a slightly different design on the Betty mugs. So they should land next week. So keep an eye on the store, hubnut.org. Vincent is going to see what he can buy for 600 quid. The world is your oyster. There is so much out there for 600 quid. Amazing cars. Mark's Garage, would you like to drive a pre-war Ford V8? Well, I sort of have. I've driven a Ford Pilot, which is a post-war Ford, but really it's a pre-war Ford, and liked it very much. In fact, that was a classic car feature. We went to Ford's Heritage Centre and each got to pick our favourite cars out. And it's very typical, you know, all those performance cars there. I chose a Ford Pilot V8 and absolutely loved it. So that was good. Oh, don't worry about being late, Jake. It's not to worry. Yeah, that's another good point about the internal stickers. I'm doing myself out of business, but you can transfer them to other cars. So they do have that advantage. They are quite good for that. We stop. For some reason, the questions keep stopping scrolling. That's really irritating. You've mugged Betty. We have mugged Betty. Yeah, we mug most of the cars on the fleet. So, we, like I say, we've got the Foxanne mugs. We've got Tuck mugs, I think, have sold out. Black Hubnut mugs have sold out. But we've got 2CV and white Hubnut mugs. We are looking at higher capacity mugs. It's something we've been investigating for a long time, but at the moment, with all the companies being shut, it's getting really difficult to do that because we need to upgrade the packaging to match the mugs. So not quite as easy as we hoped, but larger capacity is always good, and more tea the better. Where have the questions gone again? Will there be a GSA mug? Maybe. I feel I need to have some adventures in the GSA first. Makes it a bit difficult to attach. It needs more channel exposure. We need to do something. Do you dislike modern cars because they have clean exhausts? No, I don't like modern cars because they're boring. Selling flasks, again, something we have considered, but every time you do a different product, you've then got to work out how to pack it. So because we do it all ourselves, it can be quite tricky. Where do you look to buy your cars? Well, quite often they find me. People will send me links and Oh, Mark Gaffey's getting upset because I'm upsetting. I'll tell you what, Mark, you do a live stream with like over 500 people coming at you and you try and pick out questions because it is really difficult. They're pinging through at such a rate. This is really, really difficult. Why is there a dark strip in the GSA headliner? It's perforated down the middle. To show you in a bit more detail. See? I'm not sure why it's perforated, but that's the way it is. And now I'm losing. Bixby, go away. I'm back on the Samsung. Yeah, there we go. It's difficult. Whoa. When was the first Hubnut video and what was it called? The first video on this channel was actually before Hubnut. It was when I was still Classic Hub, and it's a Nissan Leaf, which you probably didn't expect. You can activate slow mode. I still can't find out how to do that. I've looked at the instructions. I haven't found anywhere I'm able to make that selection, especially on the mobile phone. Very, very irritating. Would you live in Australia? I think, yeah, especially down towards Melbourne, but actually maybe down towards Geelong and down that way. I think I could be very comfortable there. But I'm no longer a single person, so Yeah, it's not just my decision, is it? Makes life more difficult. When riding in the duck, did you worry that it might sink or break down? Well, yeah, I think that's a fairly valid concern in any boat, and especially one that's amphibious. But they've never had any issues on the Rotorua ones. They have sunk in other places. Do you know much history of the GSA? No, I'm kind of in touch with the previous owner, the one who paid for all the vast amount of work that was done to it. But yeah, I need to uncover a bit more of this car's history. I don't think there is much, to be honest, because yeah, like I say, it was kind of completely rebuilt, and at that point, previous history doesn't mean anything. Why did you sell the Dacia? Just because I didn't actually like the co-owned element of it, and I think Rich had more love for that car than I did. So I just sold my half of that car to Rich. I am hoping to meet up with Rich once the lockdown restrictions are over and do a catch up and see how the Dacia is getting on. So that needs to happen. Sunbeam H120, would love to review one, but to be honest, I'll be happy with any of the fastback Sunbeams. I think they're great cars. Poppers on the head restraints are because GSA comes with these extra cushions and these attached to the side, but I find it gets too much into the back of my head, so it's no good. Can you handbrake turn a GSA? You cannot, because the handbrake operates on the front wheels. Will Britain ever make a... Britain makes loads of cars. The Nissan factory up in Sunderland is one of the most productive in Europe. Took on a dyno, hoping to make that happen, to be honest. Yeah, that is something I'm hoping to do. Do you like the Peugeot 205? Yes. Don't go for a GTI. All 205s are wonderful. Did you have to sleep in the Dacia? No, we found somewhere to sleep every night of that trip when we came back. And there was one issue where I booked a double room, and I thought I booked a twin room, but I as a true gentleman, I mean, as much as I like Rich, I wasn't up for sharing a bed with him, and it's nothing personal, it's just the way I am. So I slept on the floor in that apartment. That was up in Chamonix, up in the is that still the Alps where Chamonix is? Mont Blanc? Or is that, no, it's not Pyrenees, is it? Pyrenees is on the Spanish border. Yeah, I'm rubbish at geography. Do you like the 208? No, I'm sorry, I'm not a fan of modern Peugeots. Ever since I had to drive a 3008, and I didn't like it very much. That was my first encounter with an electronic handbrake. Ugh. Ever make videos before YouTube? Not really, no. I made a couple at 2CV camps, and sadly used copyright music, so I can't really share them. And but they were very much one-offs every now and then. So yeah, very, very, very difficult. I've done it again. Lost the questions. There we go. Robert recently watched the Mighty Dacia series. Yeah, that was such an exciting trip, and I was so glad to have Rich along for the ride with me. It was great fun. Rover 75 or MGZT? I've never driven an MGZT. I've only driven Rover 75s, including one that is a push me pull you, 2 front ends. Must do a video on that at some point. That is in Wales. Advice for getting started on YouTube. Was that? Yeah. Yeah, getting started on YouTube, again, you've got to do it for the love. If you go into it in a business mindset, then it isn't going to work for you. I'm lucky that my hobby has turned into my job, but even 3 or 4 years ago, I didn't necessarily think that was going to happen. So you've got to do it because you love making the videos, and I would say focus on the content, not the quality. Some people love the editing. I don't love the editing, so I try and keep things simple. I generally turn the camera on and talk, and then turn it off when I stop talking. It's such a shame we don't see the same craziness in interior design as the GSA. Yes, I quite agree. I love the controls on the GSA. They just work so well. It's so nice to be able to just put your fingers on the switches. Oh, it's 3:30 wherever Orion Deschamps is. So yep, good night. And I've never driven a B1. I've driven a Figaro, which is the same sort of Pike Factory build, but I've never driven a Nissan B1. Thinking about the Rover 45, are they any good? I loved my V6. The only problem was it needed more torque. I'm not a fan of Bristols, not the later Bristols. I love the earlier Bristols. I didn't drive a Holden Tirana, unfortunately, when I was in Australia, which was very irritating. I must go back. Um, uh, what did someone say there? DC Computer Solutions. How do you pass the time when you're in lockdown? To be honest, I'm quite busy. I'm still editing videos. I've still got this massive backlog from New Zealand. I'm trying to come up with new ideas as well. I keep on meaning to review my phone. Sorry, my camera. I should probably review the gimbal. This is the famous gimbal that I'm always complaining about. I don't use it so much anymore because I don't need to with my new camera, but I could do a review on that. But yeah, I'm trying to line up more interviews potentially as well. So yeah, I'm quite busy. Of an evening, we're playing cards a lot because I'm now part of a small family. So there's 2 children in my life, and yeah, we play a card game called oh, I don't like swearing. SH Head is the name of the card game. They're absolutely addicted to it. It is so much fun. And so we're playing now. We're playing card games called Uno, and we're going down to the beach when we can because the beach is just behind me. We're really lucky, but we can go down there and throw frisbees around so the kids can burn off a bit of energy, and I can burn off a bit of cake because we're perhaps eating a bit too well. And yeah, there's we're managing to fill our days, but yeah, it isn't particularly easy. We're all struggling. The younger child last night had a bit of a meltdown because he's very upset that he can't see his friends. He really misses his friends. He misses family, and it's quite telling to actually. You kind of think children are a bit resilient and just put up with whatever's going on in life, but it was an interesting insight into his moment of weakness, and he's just as upset as many of us are because this lockdown hasn't been easy at all. Even if you're having a fairly nice time, and I'm very fortunate that I am. I'm in a beautiful part of Wales. I'm staying with lovely people. I'm having, you know, a really nice time. But still, the fact that you're restricted in your movement, there's less you can do. Yeah, we're all struggling with that, and we're all having money worries as well. And some of my friends far more so. So yeah, it's really difficult time. Everyone you know has put weight on. Yeah, I think I've started putting weight on. Does Keith Adams do interviews? Interesting question. I imagine he probably would. He's usually quite happy to chat about cars. What video editing software do you use? I use Movavi, which is about 30 quid, I think, for a license. Very simple, very effective, does what I want. I can't do any clever transitions or anything in it. There are simple transitions. I just don't bother. Do the kids show any interest in spanner holding? I haven't tried yet. I really should, because given the young lad has his own tool board, you know, magnetic one, yeah, he'd probably be interested. He built a Lego space station in a day pretty much recently, which was very upsetting for his mother because it wasn't cheap. Falling Embers, £4. Thank you very much. Top up for the tea fund. Restrictions have been reduced in Australia. Well, yeah, Australia was a bit ahead of time. Do you have plans to get back into journalism? No. Interviewing Nick Larkin? Yeah, he'd probably be up for a chat. He's a strange old boy, is Nick Larkin. And yeah, I worked with Nick for many years, and there is no one like Nick Larkin anywhere in the world. Very strange chap, but lovable nonetheless. Any road trips to foreign countries? I'm not sure about buying a car in a foreign country. Did that one with a Mighty Dacia, although I still want a Citroen Axle or Alt-Sit. I could see me going to the other side of Europe for one of those. Who cut your hair? My girlfriend did, and I don't think she's done a bad job considering she'd never cut hair before. I'd probably complain if it was a professional job, but yeah, I'm really happy with this. Will I be attending Motorfest, Coventry Motorfest? I certainly hope so. I like classic minis and would like to do a video on them soon. Yeah, some are missing the car fixing videos. I'm missing the car fixing videos, to be honest. But the puddle that's just developed under the GSA, I might be doing some tinkering sooner rather than later. I'll have to investigate that once this live stream ends. Do you remember your time in Byfield, Northamptonshire? I certainly do. Beautiful little village. Although it was hilarious. After we moved away, spent a couple of years away, we went back for a pub quiz because we were still friends with quite a few of the locals, and we'd kind of forgotten that there's a huge major road, the A361, that goes straight through Byfield. And after living in Wales, you kind of forget what major roads are. How did you manage to insure the Dacia to drive it back? It was insured in Romania, and because Romania is in the EU, we were able to drive back on that cover. That was absolutely fine. So yeah, if the Italian bike, if you could insure it in Italy, I think you'd be all right. But each country varies, despite the fact it's all the European Union. But in theory, if a car is insured in one EU state, it should be fine for all the other EU states. But obviously, that could be a problem with Brexit. That may change that. We still don't really know the impact of Brexit. That's one of the things I find slightly worrying. It was why we did the Mighty Dacia trip when we did. Once we found out we were coming out, it was like, well, we'll do this trip now because we know we can definitely do it now. And all the things that made that easy were still in place at the time we did that trip. You've moved around the UK a bit then? Yeah, but mostly Midlands and then Wales and Cambridgeshire. So yeah, that's where I always wanted to live in Yorkshire. I think Yorkshire's a lovely county. Oh, thank you, Heart DGS, for £5 there. I just hope no one sticks chewing gum in your hair. Well, I hope so as well. Chewing gum's nasty, nasty stuff. Graham W, if the Tercel is a restoration, is it a restoration no matter what, or will you move it on if it's too far gone? I'm not going to know until I really get into it, but you know, I am in a position that I can probably make that project happen regardless. So we'll see how that goes. Yorkshire isn't great. Yorkshire's got some not so good places, but some parts of Yorkshire I love very much. Usually the remote parts, because I'm a bit of a country lover these days. Have you been putting your shorts on and going out for your daily exercise? Not so much recently, because unfortunately a few days ago I fell down the stairs and really bashed one of my toes, so had a bit of a painful hobble around last night just to stretch my legs. Yeah, I'm having to cut back on the exercise a bit at the moment. Feeling a little better today, which is good. Sorry, I'm feeling quite snuffly this morning. I don't know if there's tree pollen going on or something. How's Ellie? I'm not doing anything with Ellie. She's still in my unit, just sat there. Like I say, I went to the unit, so she will appear. And where in Wales are you from? Well, I'm not from Wales. I originally grew up in the English Midlands. I'm a Brummie, really. Although I actually spent the first 10 years of my life living in the Black Country. So there you go. Can you do a lockdown test on a bicycle? I really don't like cycling. I do have a bicycle, but it's so bad that when I post pictures of me riding on it, my friends complain and take the mickey out of me. So I think it's not very fair. Brendan asks, what's your thoughts on auto versus manual? I like both. And I can't say one's better than the other because neither is perfect. Furthest I've travelled in the UK to buy a car is probably the Daimler. That was about 260 miles, I think. The one I bought in Glasgow and had to repair before I could even drive it home. Oh, thank you for that donation, Barry. Yeah, that went really badly, but it was good fun. Do you have much interest in brass era cars? Well, that's kind of going back to the earliest days, and I have to say I don't. One reason might be the lack of windscreen wipers, but the other is I like brakes as a major thing. 2CVs have really good brakes, so they're old cars that stop well. I find it terrifying driving cars that won't stop. Have you ever driven a steam car? No, I don't think I have. Surely I'd remember if I'd driven a steam car. No, I would like to. Will there be a Hudnut social near Liverpool? Well, it won't be any time soon because we can't have gatherings at all, but I wouldn't rule out the idea, certainly. Do you think the government will kill off the classic cars? No, I don't think so. Oh, thank you, Tim. Contribution to the wire, welding wire fund for the, the Tercel. Darren asks, your thoughts on the Rover brand if Tata revived it? I really don't think they will, to be honest. We'll see what happens. There are steam cars in Oamaru. Oh, well, I'll just have to go back to Oamaru. If you weren't aware, that was one of my favourite towns in New Zealand, down on the South Island. Absolutely love the place. Black Country, I lived in Bearwood for 10 years. And we moved away just before Challenge Annika came and rebuilt the park. Those were the days. Ah, I imagine steam cars were very popular in New Zealand because lots of torque. So that's good stuff. No, Rover isn't owned by Rowe. The car designs are owned by Rowe in China, but the Rover name, actually, BMW was still holding on to it, and they gave it to Tata because Tata owns Land Rover. So that's my understanding of the situation. But Tata does own the Rover brand, which is quite ironic given that the City Rover was built by Tata. Pity you didn't stay in Dunedin long. Yeah, but I was too busy interviewing rally stars, so I had to go and interview Hayden Padden, which meant that southern part of the South Island became a real rush, which is why I broke myself. So there we go, that didn't end well. And your thoughts on the Peugeot 308? I'm not a fan of 308s, to be honest. I think because the 306 was such a good car and the 307 wasn't, was kind of the problem. And yeah, that's my fault. Ford Sierra with a 2.3 litre diesel, no. That engine was very agricultural. I think the 1.8 turbo diesel was a lot better. Should bring it back. Oh, Tata should bring Rover back. I got you. Yeah. Well, I fear the Rover name is kind of tainted, sadly, by how bad things went in the end. Your cat is attacking your feet. Get a dog. There you go. That'll sort it. Have you considered getting into PC gaming? I'm not even slightly interested in gaming. Never really have been. GSA wiper test. I can't do one at the moment. The screen wash doesn't seem to be working, and the screen is very dry, and I don't have a rear wiper. How did I buy a car that was available with a rear wiper that doesn't have a rear wiper? Ugh. Would you like to drive another Tesla? Yes, because I just like driving electric cars. I really do. Chrysler 180 road test. That would be a challenge. Loads and loads of Australians have mentioned the Chrysler Centauro, which was a 180, but with a Hemi 6 Chrysler engine in them. And I'm astonished that people, in all the Marina 6 and the Cortina 6 videos, that comment just kept on coming up. And yeah, I'd never managed to find Chrysler Centauro when I was in Australia, but there are many reasons why I need to go back to Australia, and the Chrysler Centauro is just one of them. Holden Tiranas are another. I would like to go back and yeah, really enjoy some older Holden action, older Ford action as well. So yeah, do you like the Twizy? I've never driven a Twizy. I think I'd like it. Imps rule okay. Yes, I'd like to drive an Imp. Macho Rancho I'd like to drive. Apart from the Fox, what other vans interest you? All vans. All vans interest me. I'd like to do a video on a Ford Transit, because I think Transits are great. Have you any idea of the price of importing a vehicle to the UK from New Zealand? Yes. I think it's probably going to be in the region of about £2,000 with all fees involved, which is why Betty and the BX did not come home. The BX sold very quickly. That's going to go and live in Auckland now. Yep, that car will live on. It's had a long life before me. It will have a long life afterwards. V6 Talbot Tagora, that would be a lovely car to drive. I quite like the 4-cylinder one I drove. What do you think of the Vauxhall Omega? I didn't really get on with mine. Mine was a 2.5 BMW diesel. Maybe I should have tried a V6 or a straight 6.1 instead, petrol. Congratulations on the 60k subs from NYC. We've already had the MG75 debate. Why do you like wipers so much? I just do. Do you ever shop at Waitrose? Occasionally, there aren't many around here. When are you going to upload the Territory and Magna videos? They're still in the pipeline. I've got so many videos. Like I say, I've got about 30 videos still to come from New Zealand and Australia. And tomorrow is going to be the Range Rover, a nice Vogue 3.9 SE. But yeah, there's a lot still to come. New Zealand vids were brilliant. Oh, thank you. It was certainly the trip of a lifetime for me. What will you do if we all have to go electric? Probably convert my cars to electric. I don't think that's a biggie. Certain of them a lot easier to do than others. I think making an electric GS or GSA would be very, very difficult. But yes, Charles, not just one Magna. I've done first generation and third generation Magnas. So that would be good. Would you test fly a Boeing 707? I doubt they'd let me. Doug Furness asks whether I get recognised in the street. Not very often, but it does happen. It's happened at Morrison's in Aberystwyth a couple of times, I think. So that's good times. Matiz or Mart Wanagila? Matiz. What's up with Myrtle? I think her engine is just a bit tired. Don't forget, I owned Myrtle brand new, so I know how badly the first owner treated her. And she may not have entirely enjoyed the correct running in procedure, because I used to spank the absolute backside off her. And still do second time around. Have you ever flown on Concorde? No, I wasn't fortunate enough to do that. That would have been an experience. Oh, it was your dad's Magna I drove. I see, Luke. Yes, yes. So was that the Mark III Magna? Yeah, very interesting V6 noises that car made. Very, very interesting indeed. How many subscribers did you have when you first got recognised? It was probably in the low thousands the first time. Don't forget, I live somewhere really remote, so the chances of people bumping into me at all are quite slim. But it certainly happened at car shows that people would come up, and I noticed that was a big difference. Having been in the classic car media, you could spend the whole weekend at the NEC Classic Car Show, and maybe 1-2 people would come up and say, "Oh, well, I like the feature you wrote." But once I started doing videos, people wanted to come up all the time. And when I took to the NEC, in what was that, the end of 2018, it was absolutely nuts. I had crowds of people around the car, which really upset the Aston Martin stand opposite, because I was getting a lot more attention with my rubbish little Invacar. I really enjoyed that weekend. It was amazing. Thoughts on the original Renault Clio? Lovely cars. I've only driven one once. It was a courtesy car from a 2CV garage when Ellie was being worked on, and I just thought, yeah, this is really, really nice. You can see why it went so wrong for Rover trying to sell Metros alongside that sort of a thing. That and the 206, or would it have been a 206? No, I suppose it would have still been 205 days. It just moved the game on completely. You can't call Tuck rubbish. Oh, well, she is really, isn't she? She's deliciously rubbish. Don't forget, this is the channel that worships the deliciously dreadful. And yeah, she's amazing. Any Citroens that disappointed you? Yeah, quite a few from the Peugeot era. I don't think I've driven any older Citroens that have disappointed me. They all tend to be absolutely brilliant. 206 with 98. Oh, wow. That seems ages ago, doesn't it? I still think of the 206 as a fairly recent design. That's frightening. Thoughts on the Ford Scorpio? I think I'd like them, even the ugly ones. Never driven a Vectra V6 diesel. I wonder how long YouTubing as a thing will continue. I have no idea. That's why I kind of have other plans, because yeah, you can't necessarily just put all your eggs in one basket. It's never a good idea. So I do think, I haven't got any firm plans, but I do think of alternatives. Do I like mud flaps? Mud flaps don't move. It's not the rubber of the wipers that's appealing, it's the movement of the wipers. It's like the linkage on the side of a steam train. It's that movement that fascinates me. It's why pantograph wipers are so good, because you get different angles going on. Absolutely love it. Talking of strange design, any thoughts on the Fiat Multipla? Love them. Absolutely love the more modern Multipla. Rolling Troll. Am I right in thinking you've never driven a classic saloon larder? No, I've only driven that estate, which I think is still for sale at the moment. So that's one I definitely need to do. Which other Holdens did you review? I've got a VU Ute, which I was lent for a while to drive around in, so that's coming as a test. And one day I swapped that VU Ute for an HSV Maloo, with over 400 brake horsepower, and I can tell you that will be a very interesting video. And yeah, we'll I don't think there are any other Holdens. At one stage I was trying to get a VN Commodore lined up, but I just ran out of time. I was absolutely running myself into the ground, which I'm very glad of now, because I've got that huge backlog to rely on in these difficult times. Reliant Rebel, never driven, would like to. Triumph Spitfire, never driven, would like to. Multiplier Espace is a very difficult one, because I've always admired the Renault Espace. It was always just a bit out there, a bit different. I've been in a Mark III turbo diesel, and I thought it was very pleasant. Not a fan of Aston Martin. No, I'm not really a fan of Aston Martin. I've never driven any, so maybe it's not based on any sort of reality. Maybe I need to drive one, but I prefer the underrated cars to the overrated, and my impression is that Aston Martins are a bit overrated for what they are, and I think you can just have a lot more fun by spending a lot less money. When do you expect to get back in the unit? I've paid one visit last week, so a video to come on that, but it's going to be a while, because really the unit is so far away. I could do with stopping there so I can have a couple of days tinkering time. So yeah, it's difficult times. We'll just have to wait for things to free up a bit more. Oh, DFTR Automotive have tuned in. Hello there. DFTR Automotive have changed units recently, I believe, but carried out cam belt change on my Lexus LS400. Allowed me to use some ramp time to sort out the brakes on my Rover 800 and help me with a few issues on the day. So yep, DFTR Automotive, and very decent people. Are you being charged for car storage? Yes, I am being charged, and I was charged the whole time I was away, but it's surprisingly little is how much I'm being charged. And so Elmsley Invercar is a good garage indeed. I like them very much, but they're a very, very long way away. 80s Astons are probably underrated, as they weren't in any Bond films. Well, apart from the Timothy Dalton ones, in which they were. And I think one of them had skis at one stage. Was that Living Daylights? Can't quite remember. It was one of the one of those films. Citroen Visa Future Classic. Yes, I think the Visas will all vanish, and one day they will become great classic cars. I think that's going to happen. Make Took electric, please. I want to make her engine work and stop leaking oil everywhere. First of all, I don't want to make her electric immediately. I think it would destroy the fun. What are you having for lunch? No idea. But I've just realised we are now over an hour. So DB7 had skis. No, I'm pretty sure one of the Timothy Dalton Aston Martins had skis at some point. Are you a pipe smoker? No. Right, well, I'm going to have to leave you, because I have to go and get meat and enjoy the sunshine. It's blue skies here in Wales, which is lovely. So, yeah, I thank you very much for your time. Thanks to those who donated via Super Chats. Don't forget you can go to the store for all the goodies and mugs and hoodies and T-shirts and all sorts. And yeah, thank you very much for your support as ever. I hope you find these live streams useful. Basically, it's all about trying to just have a nice time while we're in this strange lockdown period. But yeah, I look forward to being able to get out and about soon, and hopefully all of you do as well. We're not going to go back to normal. I don't think big events are going to happen this year, but I'm sure we will be able to get about and have some fun, and not just on the internet. So yeah, overall, yeah, good idea overall. But yeah, thank you very much for tuning in, and I look forward to seeing you in a future live stream or video. Farewell. Now, how do you stop this thing?